Not sure how to make that work, but it's alright. This traffic sucks. What you watching? The fog is coming. Hello. The fog is coming. Oh yeah. Hey, what's up? Just stuck in traffic. We're headed over next town over to go watch a movie, Superman, and do some shopping. And we've been stuck in this traffic. There's an incident, and it's stuck. So we're just at the moment on the interstate completely stopped. So at the moment, it's not a good time, but it's all right. So we'll go live here and say what's up to the world. Why not? You from? Where are you guys from? How about you? Where are you from? That's what's up. From the United States, yeah. That's cool. I was hoping that we would get to our destination by now. I think we're gonna miss the movie if Cinemark has. Yeah, we are in the car in traffic on the interstate. Here, I'll show you. It's just stuck. It's not going anywhere. So it is what it is. We're not in a parking lot, but if we could get to the movie, Cinemark has this new movie experience called D Box, where like the seat will move back and forth, front and back, with the movie. So if you're watching an action movie, it'll vibrate, move back and forth and stuff. A little, it's not extreme, but it's enough that it's a pretty cool experience. And I wanted to go be a part of that. And you know, it looks like traffic is starting to move.
No, good job.
Yeah. So we last time we went to a movie, we wanted to sit in D box, but uh, we bought tickets that we thought were D box and they weren't. But the seats still vibrated nearby, so that was cool. But maybe we'll get the D box seats for Superman, and then that'd be kind of cool to have that. Superman. How many Superman movies have there been already? I lost count years ago. There's been Superman since the beginning. In a few more years, there'll be another Superman, right? I'll never go away. Yeah, like 10, exactly. 10 movies. Yep. Yeah, this traffic, man. You know, I tend to work overnights. I tend to work overnights, and then do some things in the morning, and then sleep afternoon and stuff like that. But and usually, when we take this trip out of town, it's an hour trip, and we're there. But I think we've been stuck in this position for quite some time. Yeah, when you're going somewhere fun, you get stuck in traffic. I guess like maybe a concert is different, like because you expect that to happen, right? Like if you're going to a concert and there's traffic, you still get there in time, But if you're going to a movie and there's traffic, it's not like everybody's going to the movie, so maybe you'll miss your time you want to go see. I don't like politics, to be honest with you. I don't like politics, regardless of who's the politician. I don't like politics. I don't like to discuss it. I like music. Music brings us together. I don't know, entertainment. Some sports. I like sports. Stuff like that. Travel. I really enjoy travel. I don't know, computer stuff, reselling. It depends what it is. You know, don't forget to tap the screen. If you're new here, I appreciate it. But since we're in traffic, you can just go live for a few minutes and see what's going to happen. Moving just a little bit. Moving just a little bit forward. Your profile on YouTube is a black blob. Well, sometimes it's hard to come up with a good profile photo, especially if you don't create content. Sometimes people go on YouTube and just a lot of people go on YouTube and consume content. They don't go on to go live or create videos and stuff like that. And it takes time to get the ability to go live. I think you need 50 subscribers. So that takes time. Some people can get that right off the bat. Some people it takes time. And so like if you just you're not taking it seriously, you're just trying to create content here and there or whatever. Like just like upload random videos, like it takes time. So
Ah,
what is it?
how long?
You're impatient. You're impatient, aren't you?
I'm fine. I have something to watch.
Yeah, you have something to watch. You're sitting regardless.
Gosh. Stop it.
Stop it. Stop what? You're covering your face.
It's hot.
The air conditioning's on.
I know. No, I mean the sunlight. I don't want it.
Oh, you mean the sunlight?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how bad this accident was up here. But No, I don't know. I don't really have much to say. Just stuck in traffic. I don't really have much to talk about at the moment. I mean, we've got like 1 or 2 5 viewers every couple minutes. Just, if anybody's gonna say something in chat, maybe. I don't know what to talk about. If I had a bunch of viewers, maybe there'd be something to talk about. But it's kind of hard when you go live and you're just hanging out. You know what I mean? It's just like I would like to talk about things, you know, that about business. I'd like to talk about business. But you know, I mean, 1 or 2 viewers. I mean, what you gonna talk about with business? You know, I got a prep center, and I bought some inventory, sent it to a prep center, so I don't have to prep the inventory myself. So I'm excited about that. Which is, you know, it's just cool about reselling is that if you buy inventory to send to an e-commerce fulfillment center, most of the time you have to buy the inventory, you have to prep it, and then send it to the fulfillment center, and then they ship it out to the customer. But if you could buy inventory and you don't have to prep it, and then they send it to the fulfillment center, you can focus on doing other things, like going to the movies. You know what I mean? I mean, if you always have to worry about packages arriving, unpacking it, prepping your inventory, and then shipping it to the fulfillment center, you know, that's extra work. You can spend more time sourcing inventory. For example, selling on Amazon. You can, you know, sell used books. You can sell random products. And if you become good at it, you can sell pretty much anything. And I'm just excited that I have a prep center now. But see, when I talk about things like that, I get 0 viewers on YouTube. It's just boring. I don't know. Is it boring? Talking about reselling on Amazon? I don't know. There are people who talk about that and get a pretty good viewing and get a group of followers and have a like-minded community. But I don't know. I have plans to go live and talk about, have like a setup at my workstation to talk about business and be focused on the community of that. Talk about how to grow business and stuff like that. So I have something to talk about specifically. But, you know, when I created this channel, first of all, my name here, DJ Crazy Jimmy, I chose that name when I was like 17 years old. I was like 16 or 17 when I first started DJing. And like somebody picked this name for me when I was 16 or 17. When I was like, I started DJing at churches and stuff when I was a kid. You know, I was too young to play in bars. But by the time I was like 18, you know, I was DJing in bars and stuff. You know, but that was 2000, 2001. Things were a little bit different back then. We didn't have cell phones, stuff like this and all that. But I DJ'd on CDs. Actually, it was mini disc back then. The DJ I learned from DJ'd on mini disc. And like, I don't know. I needed to pick a DJ name because if you're going to go out and play music, you got to be known by a name in order to play music. So, you know, DJ Jimmy was simple to know, and every time I walked in the room, the DJ that I was learning from said, DJ Crazy Jimmy. Like, he just picking fun at me. But I was young. I was like 18, 17 or something like that. So, because I learned from a DJ that played my school dances. You know, I wanted to, whatever it took to learn how to DJ. You know, so I did that for a number of years. I was successful at it. DJ'd weddings, events, fundraising events, you name it. I DJ'd bars. I didn't like DJing bars, but, you know, bar owners would pay good money. But I like DJing events, you know. there was events that I DJ'd that there's like disabled people that like put parts together at a like a industrial building. Like they got paid to put parts together and stuff like that. You know, simple task-oriented jobs that they can do. They would keep them employed so they can support themselves. Like I DJ'd their parties and stuff like that. When I was in school, I DJ'd my own school. I don't know. It's a fun experience. But I no longer DJ. I don't know. That's kind of what... But you know, as a DJ, the reason I wanted to become a DJ is because I wanted to be in a band. And if I had PA gear, then I could, because I knew how to play guitar, then I could, be in the band easier. But I always had more work as a DJ. DJ paid money, to play music at events paid money. Mobile DJ work. Back when DJing wasn't like, festivals like it is nowadays and all that stuff. And, it was a little bit different back then. I don't know, it's still the same now. There's still mobile DJ work now. But my focus now is reselling. Music's still important to me. I still have my drums. I still have my little space for drums and stuff like that. But I don't get up there as much as I want to play music, but I don't DJ much anymore. But I'm not to say that I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't DJ again. It's just that I don't have gear for it and whatnot. So reselling is my focus right now. I mean, there's plenty to talk about and all that experience. And if anybody want to learn how to DJ, I can explain how that works. If you want to become a mobile DJ and play events, dances, stuff like this, I definitely know a lot about how to get started and what to do. But, it's not for everybody. I mean, if you're not a people person, you can't stand up in front of a crowd and talk into a microphone. It's kind of hard to break into that. But, if you have somebody that can help you overcome the fear of being in front of crowds and stuff like that, then that helps. But music brings people together, and you always will find groups of people needing entertainment. So, I did that for a number of years, and it was a good experience to have a good life experience to be able to entertain crowds and play music for groups of people and stuff like that. Worked in radio for a short period of time, but I only did like IT work back then. I mean, I did like production aspect of stuff, like overs and commercials and all that good stuff, and made sure the computers were running properly. But I didn't have a radio show. I guess I could have really pushed for it, but I just after I lost my mobile DJing company, I wanted to, because I had some things happen in my life where I lost all my gear and had to start over again. I went to school for broadcasting, so I'd have a certification to do radio, did commercials and all that stuff, and commercials and weekend radio, brokered radio, run the boards and stuff like that, make sure the computers were running properly, behind the scenes stuff. But I definitely enjoyed radio, and I understood how that stuff worked because I used production aspects of like Adobe Audition, and Adobe Audition is pretty much the gold standard for radio, anybody in radio. And I understood Adobe Audition like the back of my hand before I got my certification in radio and stuff like that. So, I know how to put together a good spot, 15 second, 20 second, 30 second spot, whatever it may be, I can put together any kind of commercial, and I can make my voice, project my voice in such a way where it sounds very radio-ish. I can do that. That's not hard to do. But radio doesn't pay the bills unless you build a show, and you get network. You build something and it takes 5, 10, 15 years, and then you get network, you get satellite, and you get 20 different radio stations, 50 different radio stations, more than that. You get covered all over the place. Then you can start selling ad spots on your show, nationwide. That's where you get paid. But you have to risk a lot of time. You have to risk a lot of time, or you have to get brokered radio, or you have to put together a show that people want to carry on the network. It's not easy, And if you're trying to build a radio show, and radio is your only income, sometimes it's better to pivot and work a regular job, doing anything else that pays more, than it is to bet everything on radio. So people that have had big radio shows, I've seen them fail and end up at the AM radio station that I worked at for a short period of time. It's sad to see what happens in the end when you fall from fame at a certain level. I've seen big DJs that were known pretty much nationwide to some degree, end up at a small AM radio station, just at a personal mess. I don't know. I just didn't want to end up like that someday. Work my whole life to build something and then have it all taken away because somebody in a corporate office decided they don't want to employ me anymore. As become self-employed, and then take all that risk on yourself. There's still risk with anything, but being self-employed, there's nobody in a corporate office that says I don't like. If you're in radio, and somebody in a corporate office says I don't like what they're talking about on air, and says I want to, replace that person with a different radio host, and you have 25 years of experience, 30 years of experience, and you're, 60 years old on radio, and that's it. You could go get another radio job, but at the same time, maybe not. You have to move if you have a house and you have a family to support and all that stuff, and you're in radio, and you're at a certain age, you just don't feel like moving and changing markets all over again. So a lot of people who build a career in radio and stuff like that, they end up losing their job for whatever reason, end up as real estate investors or real estate agents, or maybe they do insurance or something like that. And I didn't want to end up in that position, I guess. I don't know. I always thought if I can't own it, I don't want it. So, because if I own it, then you can't really have it taken away from you for the most part. I don't know. So if you get an FM radio station translator, you can get a translator through the government. You can build a small little radio station for 100 watts. 100 watt radio station, right? And a lot of the big radio stations you might listen to nowadays started as 100 watt radio stations. Which one's better? To build a 40-year career in radio, to lose your corporate job, to end up starting at ground zero, or to register with a 100 watt radio station and build that to 100,000 watts, but you own the radio station. I don't know. I think they would both require the same amount of energy, but because 30, 40 years, you could, if you put your mind to anything, you could do anything in that amount of time. So. I don't know, it's just- But if you do build a radio, if you build a radio show that does good and you become a well-known person, it's kind of hard for that to be taken away, but still. This traffic sucks. I don't think we're going to get to our movie. I don't. This traffic isn't going anywhere. Traffic is not going anywhere.